Now let's talk about liabilities. So go back to that Kiplinger website and enter in your debts as we go through each one of them. So first we have credit cards, pretty standard. We all know about them. They're horrible simply because the interest rate is so high. And we don't want these banks to make money off of us. We want to make money off of these banks, which we're going to talk about later in our bonus section about credit cards. Next is mortgages. That's just debt you take on to buy a home. A lot of people get mortgages. It would be amazing if you could buy your home in cash, but a lot of us can't do that. So what I suggest is you get a mortgage that is 15, 20 years. It's less than the standard 30 years, so that it kind of gives you an incentive to pay back the loan quicker and then incur less interest. So next is home equity loans. So home equity loans act as like your mortgage, your primary mortgage. It's a secondary mortgage. So basically what you're doing is that you're using your home as collateral, and then you are basically borrowing from the bank the value of your equity in your home. So this is a horrible, horrible debt, because not only are you screwed if you stop making payments because you're just going to lose your home, but you also pay tons and tons of interest. So you do not want to have a home equity loan. You should avoid it if you can. Next is the auto loan. That's the debt you get when you want to buy a car. And similarly with a mortgage, it would be beautiful if you could just buy a car in cash. Just buy it outright. Again, a lot of us really can't do this, right? We want a certain type of car to keep us safe maybe and have to incur more debt. But again, try to get an auto loan. If you're going to get a loan, try to get one that's really short, that's a year or two. Next is student loans. And student loans is a sore topic for a lot of us, including me. Student loans is the debt you incur when you go to school in some type of fashion. So that could be undergraduate, it could be graduate, it could be a PhD. That would be horrible if you incurred student loan debt for a PhD. It could be a boot camp. It could be a host of educational opportunities. Student loans are horrible because it's the only loan that you can't just get rid of if you go bankrupt, right? So you can't just get rid of that loan. It sticks with you even if you're in bankruptcy. So you really want to focus on paying off your student loans. And they have pretty high interest. Like, you could be incurring interest from 3% to 10% to 12%. It could be high interest loans, so you want to get rid of them quickly. And then we have other loans and debts. And then we have the section bills due. We have our household utilities and our taxes due. I typically don't really think of them in terms of my liabilities. You can include them if you want to. Personally, for me, I wouldn't necessarily include them in terms of liabilities. Taxes due, yes, it is a liability, but for most people, you're not going to have a huge sum of taxes due normally, right? Unless it's the tax return, but then again, you might not know exactly that amount, so you can project it out by using H&R Block and other resources to project the taxes due. It's a great thing to know, but I generally just include the left side when I think about my own liabilities. So now let's talk about good debt and bad debt. So the distinction between good debt and bad debt is that good debt is going to help you in the future, right? So when we think about student loans, we realize, okay, I might be spending $50,000 a year to go to Harvard University, but hopefully that Harvard degree will be enough leverage to propel me in the future to make more money. Right? But bad debt is not the same. It's debt where you're not getting money or some grand reward in the future for taking on that debt. So let's go through the list. So we talked about student loans. Student loans can be a really good asset to you, you know. It really can help your future. And we know that on average, people with college degrees do make more, right? So it will increase your future income and be beneficial to you. but we want to minimize those student loans if we can. Next is mortgage, right? So we talked about the asset of a home. And we know that, yes, it can appreciate, but it can also lose its value in rocky times, right? So a mortgage can be a great, great investment where, okay, I put 20% down, right? So I put $20,000 down on a $100,000 valued house. And then in 10 years, it's worth $200,000. Great. Wow. I didn't pay that much interest on my mortgage, right? Say I only paid $40,000 in interest or something. So now I total invested $60,000, but my house is increased by $100,000, so I'm net $40,000. So that's pretty good. Nice, cool. I net $40,000 off of that. So in that case, a mortgage is great because it's going to give you value in the future. Similarly, a small business loan is the same thing, right? So say, a company goes and borrows a donut company. Yes, I love donuts. A donut company goes and borrows $10,000 to open their store, right? But then that year they make $100,000. Okay, they pay back that $10,000. They had $5,000. They had $5,000 in interest. Would be crazy. They had $1,000 in interest, so they paid $11,000 into $100,000 a year business. So it's worth it. So let's talk about consolidated loans. So sometimes when you consolidate loans, it's really going to help you because you're going to have a lower interest rate for all your loans. So if you have a 9% student loan, if you can consolidate it and make it a 7% loan, that's a net benefit on you because you're going to be paying less interest over time. So credit card rewards programs. So credit cards, I think, are beautiful. I like credit cards. The reason I like credit cards is for the rewards program, but it's also because I know that I can only spend money on things that I already have the money for, right? So I can't just go and splurge on a $500 trip to Vegas because I don't have that money. But if I do have that money, I can splurge $500 and then gain points on my Chase card for going on that trip. So I like credit card rewards programs. And then last is medical loans. I mean, sadly, sometimes you just have to take out a medical loan. It's your life. It's your health. At the end of the day, is it good? Is it really that good of debt? No, not really. It's horrible, but it's saving your life, and that's future benefit, if anything, is future benefit of your life and your health is always important. So next is bad debt. Car loans. Car loans would be considered bad debt, and this goes back to the reasoning with cars and assets. Do we even consider a car an asset? Car loans can be bad debt because cars are depreciating, right? And so do you have future value in it? Yes, you have future value, but the value of it is decreasing, so it's less value in the future. So we would consider that bad debt. Credit card debt. Credit cards, okay, if you're using your credit card to pay a medical bill, okay, fine. You got around me. But generally speaking, credit card debt is just horrid, right? You have no true future benefit in the future. And in fact, they're going to charge you interest, so you're losing money. You have less money in the future. Personal loans. When you take out a personal loan, those loans have such high interest rates. They're astronomical. Again, you're paying that interest. You have less money in the future, right? It's not that you just spent the money you've spent. It's that you have a crazy interest rate and now you're spending even more money to use that money. Payday loans, cash advance, astronomical interest rates. You have less money in the future. Home equity loan. Wow. Again, less money in the future. And we talked about home equity loans and why they're so bad. Borrowing from a 401k. I had a lady that worked with me and said that her parents were using their 401k money, they were borrowing from it, and then going to like Disney World. And I'm just like, these people are at retirement age and they're gonna borrow and blow their 401k money to go to Disney World. And it's like, yes, we all need joys in life. We all need happiness and experiences. But the reality is borrowing from a 401k is not only hijacking your future, right? So you have less in the future, but also today you're going to incur a penalty fee for it too. So you get a penalty fee when you borrow from a 401k too early. So it's not a good move. And then last is vacations, jewelry, clothes. Listen, I get that you're in grad school in London and you took out a loan for your education and you took out extra money so that you can travel around Europe. I get that you took out an extra $5,000, but the reality is that yes, it feels good in the moment, but you're going to have less in the future because those things will have interest attached to it. And so you're going to have less in the future. Now, you could also buy a piece of jewelry, say, and have interest-free loan for a year. Okay, fine. If you need that $5,000 rock, do it. Okay, if you need that, if that makes you happy, do it. But you must have the money, and it must be an interest-free loan. I will give you a pass for that. So the point is that you should be afraid and appreciative of debt. So here's the reality. Debt will make you feel emotional about money because it feels like you're drowning. In this case, being emotional about money might actually help you. Eliminate all of your bad loans. Replace the bad loans with good loans to increase your net worth. And also think about the fact that we want better assets as well. Emotions can help us in this situation. Use your emotions for good and tell yourself, I'm going to feel really horrible in the future because I'm just going to have less with this bad debt. That's just reality. My life is going to be less. I'm going to have less. I mean, I'm not saying your life is going to be this horrible depression and you're just going to have less and your life is less. No, I'm just trying to give you a reality check of you're just going to have less in the future and it's going to make you feel bad. And why would you want to do something that makes you feel bad, right? So you don't want to put your hand in the fire necessarily. So don't do it in terms of your finances. Don't just throw your money in the fire because that's what you're doing.